Now, this text of Yadavabhyudayam, as the name itself suggests, it has got something to do with the Yadava Kulam. So, it revolves around the life of Krishna and basically the lineage of the entire Yadava Kulam, the Yadava race. It is actually Yadavabhyudayam, apart from a religious text also, it comes amongst the Sanskrit Mahakavyas. Now in Sanskrit there are few Mahakavyas that are popular, like we have Raghuvamsham, Meghadutam, Kumara Sambhavam. All this is by Kalidasa. We also have few by Bhasa, Balacharitam, Abhignana Shakuntalam, of course not by Bhasa. So like this there are few Natakas or Mahakavyas that are popular. So this Yadavabhyudayam also has got the same status of a Mahakavyam. In fact, many Sanskrit scholars who are there, they make a comparative study with Raghuvamsham. So Raghuvamsham and Yadavabhyudayam. Raghuvamsham mainly talks about the lineage of Rama, the entire Raghu clan, and Yadavabhyudayam mainly talks about the lineage of Krishna, that is the Yadava Kulam. So usually Sanskrit scholars who are there, they do like a comparative study also. And this Yadavabhyudayam is a text composed by Vedanta Deshika, which also has been composed by considering the Raghuvamsham, composed by Kalidasa. So on similar lines also, grammatically, little some points have been considered here and there. So that is why it has become quite popular. Like along with Raghuvamsham, people also study Yadavabhyudayam side by side. Now, one more aspect of Yadavabhyudayam is it has been given, or you can say a commentary has been written on Yadavabhyudayam by the great philosopher Appaya Dikshita. And now basically Appaya Dikshita, now why it is so you can say popular or why it is considered very significant is Appaya Dikshita belonged to the Advaita school of philosophy, and Vedanta Deshika is a person propounding Vishishta Advaitam, right? So Yadavabhyudayam is a text of Vishishta Advaitam, and Appaya Dikshita is the one who propounds Advaita. So little, like usually, in fact, the lot of confusion also that is there, that people following Advaita will not follow anything else, or people following Vishishta Advaita will not follow the other paths and so on. All these are just myths. For this is one best example. Like even Shankaracharya also. Shankaracharya, though he was the propounder of Advaita school of thought, still he is the one who has composed so many other shlokas also, right, in praise of Vishnu, Goddess, Devi, Ganesha and so on. So these are all just different philosophies that are there. Let it be Advaita, let it be Dvaita. So Advaita by Shankaracharya, Dvaita by Madhvacharya, or Vishishta Dvaita by Ramanujacharya. These are all just different philosophies that are being told, which ultimately lead to the same place. It's just like you have to reach a place, there are different modes of transport, right? So it is just for people like you and me, of course it doesn't make any difference. Let it be Dvaitam, Advaitam or Vishishta Advaitam. We are all like for us people, common people, the least is we must at least know what is each one of these. So that is the first base question that is there. Then comes the next question of I am following this or I am following that. So that is the condition for common people. But usually these philosophers who are there, let it be Shankaracharya, Madhvacharya or Ramanujacharya, it is not a distinction that is made. The only purpose is they were all just different schools of thought, which all ultimately led to the same path, different ways of understanding that were there. So people followed all of that. So this Yadavabhyudayam is a text which was or which is originally composed by Vedanta Deshika, propounder of Vishishta Advaitam, and a commentary has been written by Appaya Dikshita, one who followed Advaita philosophy, right? So this is one very, you can say, not a very common way, unusual combination that is there. So again, the myth that someone who follows Advaitam will only study Advaita text also, it is not at all that way. This Yadavabhyudayam is one good example for that. Now this entire text of Yadavabhyudayam is studied, like I told you, by a lot of Sanskrit scholars also. It is a Sanskrit Mahakavyam. Basically talks about the story of Krishna. Later I'll also tell you each sarga how it describes about Krishna and so on. The entire life story of Krishna, but in a poetic manner. Yeah. So the feature, like I told you, is the stories of Krishna have been composed in a very, very beautiful poetic manner. That is one very special feature of this text. And in fact, it is said that there have been a lot of foreign scholars also who have studied this text, and they have made commentaries like it is actually like an encyclopedia or so of Krishna Katha. That is, you just remember Krishna, and everything about Krishna has been mentioned in this text. That is one more beauty, we can say, of Yadavabhyudayam. Now, in fact, lot of rasas that are there. We have Navarasas, so Saundaryam, Hasyam, Bibhatsam, Bhayam, and so on. All these emotions have been a part of this text, and lot of, you can say, everything has been combined together to enhance the poetic beauty of Yadavabhyudayam. Now, the entire text that is there, it has been divided into 24 sargas in all, and about, you can say, consider about 2500 to 2600 shlokas roughly. The numbers can go a bit up and down. And in fact, now this text has been composed in about the 14th century or so. So such a old text that is there, an ancient text which narrates the life, the various leelas of Bhagavan Krishna and the entire Yadavakulam. In fact, Vedanta Deshika, like we have Srimad Bhagavatam, or we have so many Krishna Leela stories, Narayana Tirtha compositions and so on. But apart from this, Vedanta Deshika has specifically written this text which revolves around the life of Krishna and the entire Yadavakulam. So few texts talk about this. In fact, he starts the text by talking about right from the pregnancy of Devaki Devi, how Devaki in the Karagraham, she gives birth to the first 7 children. The 8th child was Bhagavan Krishna. How Bhagavan was taken to Gokulam, how his childhood took place there. Then how demons like Kamsa, Keshi, Putana, Kaliya and so on were killed. Then the Govardhana Leela has been described. Rasa Leela with the Gopikas has been described in detail. Then the episode in Mathura, wherein Bhagavan along with Balarama goes with and Akrura goes to Mathurapuri. Kamsa is slayed there. Then further, how Bhagavan spends his time in Sandipani's Gurukulam, how his Upanayana Samskaram takes place. Further, the marriage of Bhagavan to Ashtamahishis, all the other queens, Rukmini, Satyabhama and so on. The defeat of Narakasura and the celebration of the Deepavali festival that we all do today. And how the Parijata Vriksham has been stolen from heaven. Then the last few sargas, they also talk about Bhagavan's role in the story of Mahabharata, how he supported and helped the Pandavas, the Bhagavad Gita Upadesha to Arjuna, and how he lived a life of a Grihastha in Dwarakapuri finally, and the end of Krishnavataram. So this is like the background of the entire Yadavabhyudayam, which starts right before the birth of Krishna till the end of Krishnavataram, and Bhagavan spending his last few years in Dwarakapuri. So that's how this text completely is all about. Further, in fact, the text that is there, it begins with few Mangalacharanas. Now what is this Mangalacharanam? Now Mangalacharanam, if you see, for all the texts of Vedanta Deshika, we have few shlokas that are chanted firstly in praise of Vedanta Deshika. I am assuming few of you might be familiar with that. We will also see it later. Shriman Venkatanatharya Kavitarkika Kesari Vedantacharya Varyo Me Sannidattam Sada Hridi Kavitarkika Simhaya Kalayana Gunashaline Srimate Venkateshaya Vedanta Gurave Namaha. Now this is not a part of Yadavabhyudayam, it is like a Mangala Shloka that is chanted in praise of Vedanta Deshika. Yeah. Now, in fact, the beginning itself of this text starts with the beauty, or you can say the glory of Krishna, how Krishnashtami is celebrated, how the birth of Krishna is celebrated, and so on. So, Vedanta Deshika, like, he starts the text by praising Bhagavan, praising the place where Bhagavan was born, what were the qualities that he had, and so on. Now, About Vedanta Deshika, if we have to look a little, we will also see a little about Vedanta Deshika. Who exactly is Vedanta Deshika? Now, in fact, Vedanta Deshika, we know he's a person who was born near Kanchipuram. Tupul, I think, is the name of the place, or Toppal, I don't know the right pronunciation. He was named as Venkatanatha, and he gets a few Visheshanas, that is, few adjectives. Kavitarkika Simhaha. Kavitarkika meaning amongst the Kavis, he is Simhaha. Simhaha meaning lion among Kavis, that is, great among Kavis. And Sarvatantra Swatantraha, he is the one who has established mastery over all the kalas, all the vijnanas that is there, over all arts and sciences. Vedantacharyaha, he is the one who is actually teaching, precepting Vedanta. So that's how he gets all these adjectives. He was the one who belonged to the Kaushika Gotra, and he is the one whose guru was actually a person called Kidambi Apullo, and he was the one who belonged to the lineage of Ramanujacharya. That's how Vedanta Deshika comes in the same line. Now, Vedanta Deshika mainly is known for strengthening, like Adi Shankaracharya. He has been on the path of Ramanujacharya only, mainly Vishishtadvaita Vedantam. He was the one who has strengthened that after Ramanujacharya. In fact, he established a proper balance between karma, bhakti and jnana. And lot of Tamil literature that has been there, especially the compositions by various Alvars, all that has been integrated by Vedanta Deshika in Sanskrit. So, a lot of Sanskrit Vedanta has been studied by integrating these the compositions by Tamil Alvars. So, that's how today's Vaishnavism that is there has become very easy for people who are maybe not that much familiar with Tamil also. In fact, it is said that Vedanta Deshika has composed about more than 120 texts in various languages. In fact, also in Prakrit, along with Sanskrit, Tamil also. Like in Sanskrit, the most popular texts are Paduka Sahasram that is there, or this Yadavabhyudayam. Then you have Hayagriva Stotram. Now all these are quite very popular stotras that are there, composed by Vedanta Deshika. In fact, in even the Goda Stuti, Shri Stuti, it is actually there in a language called Manipravalam, a different kind of a lipi that is there. Even in Prakrit language, you have a text called Achyuta Shatakam, 100 shlokas in praise of Bhagavan Achyuta, that is another name of Krishna. Tamil also, like Paramapada Sopanam and so on, lot of texts have been composed by Vedanta Deshika, which all revolves around Vishishtadvaitam only. Now, in fact, it is said that Vedanta Deshika is an avatara purusha of Bhagavan Srinivasa, Bhagavan Venkateshwara himself, and he is the one who has, in fact, the subject matter also that he writes that revolves around various topics. Like, for example, Yadavabhyudayam talks about the life story of Krishna and the Yadavas. Paduka Sahasram, in fact, is a very unique text which talks about 1,000 shlokas on the Padukas of Rama's sandals that are there. Hayagriva Stotram is in praise of Hayagriva. Paramapada Sopanam is steps. It is a text in Tamil language. It talks about steps to moksha, it seems. That is the entire text. And Achyuta Shatakam in Prakrit, that is actually 100 shlokas, Shatakam, in praise of Bhagavan Krishna. So, these are all a lot of things which Vedanta Deshika has composed. Now, whenever we study about any text or so, we must also know about the author. So, that's why I told you something about Vedanta Deshika also. Now, coming back to this text of Yadavabhyudayam. Now, like I told you, one more aspect of Vedanta Deshika which is there is he is the one who was mainly known for combining Purva Mimamsa and Uttara Mimamsa. Now, what is this Purva Mimamsa, Uttara Mimamsa? Now, Purva Mimamsa basically is a path that talks about a lot of rituals that are to be done, and Uttara Mimamsa is about Vedanta, right? Now, for people like you and me, common people who are there, if I just tell you, okay, from today onwards, You don't have to worship anything. You don't have to even keep a puja room in your house. Nothing. You don't need to chant anything. Nothing. You just need to be engrossed in meditation, tapasya, and so on. It is impossible, right? For people like you and me, at least now, we cannot do it. For us, okay, if I have to show any kind of worship also, I can go to a temple. Maybe I can do some kind of puja, or maybe I can keep an idol in my house. I can do some worship. That also I cannot do it that perfectly, but at least I can try, right? But if I have to leave everything aside, there we cannot always think about going on the other part that is there of meditation, because it becomes very difficult, right, for commoners. But Vedanta Deshika was the one who is mainly known for combining. Now we cannot always stick to one, like one person cannot say I can only talk about Purva Mimamsa, that is I'll follow all kinds of rituals, this and that, I'll not focus upon Uttara Mimamsa at all. We cannot be like that, right? Ultimately one has to go to the next step also, what is meditation and so on, right? So he is the one who is known for bringing together or integrating both Purva Mimamsa as well as Uttara Mimamsa. So not everyone has done this, and that's why it is said that he has shown a proper balance that is there between rituals, devotion, Vedanta and so on. Now many times what happens is, under the name of rituals, there are many things which we do blindly, right? That also should not be done. There should be things which are to be done practically. I'll give you one small example. Like in our Shastras also, there are things that are mentioned, like say, Godanam needs to be done. Now Godanam is nothing but go, that is cow. Cows are given as donation, maybe to the priests who come to our house and so on, during some occasions. Let it be like a wedding ceremony also, or during some Shraddha Karma and so on. But in today's situation, practically, Godanam is fine, that has to be done. The Shastras cannot change that. But for commoners, we cannot do Godanam today, right? First of all, where will I go and purchase a cow? Even if I am able to do that, the priest who is there with me is not ready to accept that, right? He'll tell me, where will I keep the cow, right? Now we all live in places wherein, apart from that, if you live in a village or so, a big house, and maybe you can manage things, then it is still fine. That okay, I'll keep a big cow and then I'll take care of it, I'll keep a person to take care and so on. But otherwise, things are not practically possible, right, in today's times. Or even now, maybe the Suvarna Dhanam, the gold Dhanam also that people used to do, that also has become quite difficult in today's times. Practically it's not being possible, right? So in the course of time, it's not that the Shastras will change. So that doesn't mean that say the Godanam or Suvarna Dhanam also will be removed from the Shastras. We cannot do that. But as times change also, practically few things will keep changing, right? So a person cannot say that okay, the Shastras have said, so I have to keep doing the same thing this way. So this is wherein blindly we cannot keep following things. At times some practical things also need to be known, the significance. Now mainly Godanam, Suvarna Dhanam also is to just show that I have something with me. As a sense of gratitude also, I need to give that in Dhanam. So for Shastra, like you say, something has been written in the Shastras, keeping that in mind, I need to follow that dharma. So to do that, these things have been written. But keeping the significance of that in mind, we have found out other ways. Like maybe if not Godanam or so is being done, maybe we can go to a Goshala and do something, Yatha Shakti, whatever is possible. Or many times in today's times, what happens is, maybe in other means also, maybe in money means or other things, we give some donation that is there. So the original path that is there is kept in mind, but the things that are there, we cannot always stick to the rituals that have been mentioned. Now here it doesn't mean that we don't follow the rituals. Whatever is possible, practically convenient, we do it. But as times change, there are many things which have to keep in, which we have to also keep changing. So Vedanta Deshika also, he is known for integrating, bringing together Purva Mimamsa with Uttara Mimamsa, wherein a proper balance between rituals as well as ultimate Vedanta, ultimate philosophy behind that. He was the one who was known for keeping that, or you can say preaching that to the people. Now one more aspect of Vedanta Deshika is, he was the one who lived basically on bhiksha only. So here, like a very simple life he used to live. Whatever people used to come and give him, he used to accept, he used to eat that and so on. and he is the one who is known for traveling across Bharata Desha, especially in Dakshina Bharatam like Sri Rangam and so on. But mainly he is known like for spreading. Now in today's times also, if we have to know about something, we have sources that are easily available, right? But in those times, in case we have to preach something or you need to spread something, people had to actually go. That's why we have, let it be Adi Shankaracharya or let it be Vedanta Deshika, so many other acharyas. Why have they done so many padayatras that have been there? They have gone around the globe also preaching about dharma. Why this has taken place is because that was only means wherein they had to bring people together, they had to assemble, they had to talk, and that's how bhakti spread, right? So Vedanta Deshika also was one amongst them. Now coming back to our text of Yadavabhyudayam, like I told you, it talks about the entire Yadava Kulam and the life story of Krishna. Now Sarga wise, let us see how Vedanta Deshika has compiled them. Sarga 1 basically talks about like an introduction also of the entire Yadukulam, the Yadava Kulam, and like I told you, it has been composed on similar lines with the Raghuvamsham. Sargas 2 and 3 talk about the relationship between Devaki and Vasudeva, how the first 7 children were born to Devaki Devi, how Krishna Janma took place, and how Bhagavan was brought to Gokulam by Nanda. So till there description is done in Sargas 2 and 3. Sarga 4 talks about the Vrindavana Leelas of Bhagavan, how Bhagavan spent his childhood in Vrindavanam. Sargas 5 to 7, they describe about the Govardhana Leela, how Bhagavan lifted the Govardhana mountain on his finger, the various ritus, the various seasons that were there, summer season, rainy season, how Bhagavan used to spend his time then, all that has been described, and how Indra's pride was brought down by Bhagavan. Sarga number 8 talks about Rasa Leela, how Bhagavan spent his time with the Gopikas and the ultimate bhakti of Gopikas towards Krishna. Sarga 9 talks about the killing of a demon called Keshi, and Bhagavan had to depart to Mathurapuri in Sarga number 9. So how then all the Vrajastris who were there in Vrindavanam, how they lament, how was their sorrow, all that has been described in detail in Sarga 9. Further, Sarga 10 and 11 is the description of how Krishna and Balarama go along with Akrura to Mathura, and how the entry of Bhagavan took place in Mathura. Now we know many stories related to that, right? How Bhagavan was welcomed in Mathurapuri. Many people were there. There was a woman, Kubja, a hunchback woman. She was turned into a young woman, young lady also by Bhagavan's grace. Then a washerman was there. So like this, there are different leelas. Finally, Sarga 12 talks about the killing of Kamsa. Sarga 13 and 14 is Bhagavan was made the king of Dwaraka. The kingdom of Dwaraka was handed over to Krishna Bhagavan. Sarga number 15 talks about Rukmani Devi Swayamvaram, Rukmani Swayamvaram with Bhagavan. Sarga 16 is Satyabhama Swayamvaram. So Rukmani Swayamvaram is Shri Devi. Rukmani Devi is an avataram of goddess Mahalakshmi herself. Satyabhama an avataram of Bhumi Devi, Bhudevi herself. So Shri and Bhudevi Kalyanam with Bhagavan. How the Parijata Vriksham was stolen from Swargalokam by Krishna. 17th Sarga talks about the defeat of Narakasura, how the women who were kept captive in Narakasura's kingdom, how they were saved by Bhagavan, that has been described. Then Sargas 18 and 19 talk about the progress that took place in Bhagavan's life, the royal progress, that is many other kingdoms were brought into control by Krishna. Lot of enemies were defeated by Bhagavan. Lot of other queens also came, the Ashtamahishis who were there, along with Rukmani, Satyabhama, you have Kalindi, Jambavati and so on, how their marriage took place, and how Bhagavan spent his life in Dwaraka, that has been described entirely in Sargas 18 and 19. Sarga 20 and 21 talk about the involvement of Krishna in the Mahabharata story. The entire Kurukshetra Yuddham episode is described there. How Bhagavan became the Sarathi, the charioteer of Arjuna, what was his guidance and so on. Sarga 22, an important Sarga again because the Gita Upadesham has been described in detail. Sarga 23, wherein how Bhagavan spent his life as a Grihastha with his queens. So the household life of Krishna has been described. And finally, Sarga 24 is a concluding Sarga, wherein how Krishna is the ideal Grihastha also and how he is the divine king. So with this, the entire conclusion takes place of Krishna Avataram and the entire life story of Krishna. So this is how the entire life story, right from the birth of Bhagavan till his last life, has been, till his role in Mahabharata especially, and the last life of Bhagavan, all that has been described in this text of Yadavabhyudayam. In fact, this text has got lot of meters, that is lot of chandas that are there in this text, and mainly, like, it is not just Anushtup Chandas, that is not in only one meter or one tune it has been composed, it is using various meters also, so that whenever it is chanted in different tunes, automatically different rasas, that is different moods of poetry are there. Like I told you in the beginning only, it is a Sanskrit Mahakavyam, right? So it will have lot of, you can say, beauty to it, poetic beauty, the way we chant, maybe rhyming words here and there and so on. And here, in fact, like I told you, in few sargas also, we have the Rasa Leela with the Gopikas, or the description of the various seasons that were there. There we can see the poetic beauty of Vedanta Deshika, how beautifully he has mentioned those descriptions and so on. And not only the poetic beauty, we also see the philosophy of, wherein we, along with the poetic beauty, we also see the philosophical description, that is the Vishishtadvaita, that can also be, those ideas also we can see in this text of Vedanta Deshika. And here one aspect which Vedanta Deshika has, you can say, used while composing this entire text is, he describes Krishna, like we know Krishna Avataram is a Purna Avataram, right? It is also a human Avataram only, like Rama Avataram. But if you see one difference between Rama Avataram and Krishna Avataram, Rama Avataram, Naravataram. Bhagavan behaved like a human being. Krishna Avataram is also Naravataram, a human Avataram only, but a Purna Avataram, wherein Bhagavan reveals himself as Bhagavan. That is, in every step, in every Leela that he does, he shows to the world that I am not an ordinary human being, I am something divine. In fact, it is said that, of course, it's not a great mention in many texts also, it is said that while Rama Avataram takes place, Vishnu decides, it seems, that in my next Avataram, definitely I will be a human being. That is okay. But like a human being, maybe if I always be there, like whatever comes in my way, if I just keep suffering, maybe life will not move around. I will have to, maybe, like as we say, if something is not taken in a straight way, we have to also move our fingers, right? So that's when we have to twist and turn a bit. That's when Bhagavan also, Vishnu in fact decides, it seems, after Rama Avataram, that always I cannot be straightforward. Little bit twist and turns are very important if for Dharmasthapanam, as the times have they have been changing also, because Rama Avataram takes place in Treta Yugam, right, wherein little bit of asuri qualities, or you can say negativity, demons, they have just started coming in. But Satya Yugam, everything was nice. Dwapara Yugam, you had lot of, you can say, all these demons coming in, lot of problems coming up and so on. So that's when Bhagavan decides that in this Avataram, for Dharmasthapanam, little I have to also twist and turn my life. That's when, if I have to show my divinity, if I have to kill asuras also, I have to do that. Maybe I cannot wait like Rama for 14 years to go to Vanavasam and then the killing of Ravana, that also with the help of the monkeys in a very dharmic manner also. Maybe I don't have time to wait for all that. In Krishna Avataram, right from the time I am born, like a small baby also, I have to start killing asuras. So that's the reason why Krishna Avataram is known to be a Purna Avataram. So Vedanta Deshika also, he highlights Bhagavan as divinity as well as a normal human being. So both the qualities have been described in this text of Yadavabhyudayam. Moreover, like I told you, Appaya Dikshita, a philosopher belonging to the Advaita school, he has written a very beautiful commentary on this text also. So that is the reason, or you can say this is all about the text. The beauty itself is, it covers the entire life story of Bhagavan, very, very rich in imagination, beauty, rasa, chandas. At the same time, Vishishtadvaita philosophy is beautifully explained. Even Advaita scholars like Appaya Dikshita have admired this text and written commentaries on this text. Moreover, this text is also chanted in a lot of temples. Traditionally also the chanting of this text is done. So that's why this Yadavabhyudayam is a very, very beautiful text which has been widely recognized everywhere. Yeah. Now the first shloka itself talks about the beauty of Vrindavanam. Vande Brindavanacharam Vallavi Janavallabam Jayanti Sambhavam Dama Vaijayanti Vibhushanam. Now here in this shloka, this is actually a Mangala shloka, Sarga 1, Shloka 1, wherein Vedanta Deshika he starts by saying that the meaning, or you can say the glory of Krishna has been described in the shloka, meaning Vande Brindavanacharam. 4 Visheshanas or 4 adjectives are used in this verse. Vrindavanacharam, that is one who roams around in Vrindavanam. Vallavi Janavallavam, Vallavi Janavallabham, meaning one who is a beloved of the Gopikas. Jayanti Sambhavam, meaning one who is born on the Krishnashtami day, on his Avataram day. And Vaijayanti Vibhushanam. Vaijayanti is actually the forest flowers also, one who is being beautifully decorated by the forest flowers that are there all around. So wherein few qualities like the Vatsalyam or the Saushilyam of Bhagavan, that is the beauty of Bhagavan, or the love and affection that he has towards everyone, that all can be seen while he adorns or while he wears these forest flowers like Vaijayanti and so on. Now his Vatsalyam or love is always towards Bhaktas who are in and around Vrindavanam, towards a cow. Just as a cow has love towards his calf, similarly Krishna has love towards his Bhaktas, it seems. And this shloka that is there, Vedanta Deshika says, I bow down to that one who is roaming about in Vrindavanam, who is the beloved of the Gopikas, who is the one who is born on his Avatara day, that is on the Krishnashtami day, and who adorns, who wears the forest flowers as Abhushanam. And they are all so beautiful that they denote the Vatsalyam, the Saushilyam, Saulbhyam, and so on, all these qualities of Bhagavan. So basically the beauty, affection, love of Bhagavan can be seen while he adorns these flowers. So not only the physical beauty, Bhagavan is known for his divinity and affection towards his Bhaktas. So the first shloka itself, very very beautifully Vedanta Deshika starts. Yeah. So this is all about this text. I just gave you a very small introduction. Later as we delve into this text, we will see more and more. I'll just stand the first 5 shlokas and then we will stop. Srimate Ramanujaya Namaha, Srimate Nigamanta Mahadeshikaya Namaha. Prathama Sargaha Shriman Venkatanathāryaha Kavitarkika Kesari Vedanta Charya Varyo Me Sannidhatnam Sada Hridi. Vande Brindavanacharam Vallavi Janavallavam Vallabham Jayanti Sambhavam Dhama Vaijayanti Vibhushanam. Yadekaika Gunaprante Shanta Nigamavandinaha Yatavad Varnane Tasya Kimutanyemitam Pachaha Shakya Shaurikata Swadaha Stane Mandadiyamapi Amritam Yadilabhyeta Kim no Grihyeta Manavaihi Vasudha Shrotrachetasmin Vyase Charidayastite Anyepi Kavayav Kamam Babhuvuranapatrapaha Sakavif Kathyate Srashta Ramate Yatra Bharati Rasabhava Guni Bhutaihi Alankarair Gunodayaihi. So these are the first 5 shlokas of the Prathama Sargaha.